You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.
Hi, I'm Joe Heath.
I'm Toni Heath.
And this is the Watch-A-Thon of Rassilon.
That's true.
Cool. Today we're going to be watching the fourth and final serial of the 25th season of Doctor Who, the greatest show in the galaxy, which consists of 4 episodes that aired from December 14th, 1988 to January 4th, 1989. Joe Facts! The episode that aired closest to my birthday.
Aw, happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Joe.
Birthday, Joe.
Hey, can you wrap that title a little bit more?
No. Yeah, my birthday's March 4th, 1989, so this came out 3 months. It ended 3 months before my birthday, so. Exactly 3 months. Well, 2. 2. Wait, 2, right? Yes, 2. I can count.
I believe this also came out during my birthday.
Nice.
When did it start again?
It started December 14th, 1988.
Oh, no. Okay, but that was the one that was closest to mine.
Yes, missed your birthday a little, but...
Yeah. Just
By how many weeks did it miss your birthday? Also, hi, I'm not here yet.
I'll introduce you two in a second. First off, we gotta mention somebody else. I want to say a special thanks to Matt Golden for sponsoring this episode.
Hey, thanks, Matt.
Golden! You can check him out at mattgolden.xyz. And now I will introduce you two. Hi, it's Christine Cherry.
Hello.
And Hallie Larsson.
Hi.
Welcome back.
Thank you for having me back.
I say welcome back. This is technically your first official episode. Like,
Your first
mainline.
non-paywalled episode.
Yay! Before I've only been in, like, the bonus content.
For the rabble, this is their introduction to you.
I will say your behind the paywall episode will not be behind a paywall for much longer. I'm going to release it after this episode because I'm going to need a buffer.
But my residuals. What about my glorious residuals?
Sorry, it's capitalism. I got to screw you out of your money somehow.
Oh, no, that makes sense. Thank you, Joe.
You're welcome. So how are you guys doing?
Good. I'm excited to be talking about this Doctor Who serial, which might be my favorite classic Who serial.
Might be? You're not sure?
It might be that. Might be Brain of Morbius. It's up there. It's like, but it's close. I think this might be the classic Who serial that is dearest to my heart.
Aw.
It was, when I was asking for you to suggest Doctor Who episodes for me, it was real early on the list.
How are you doing, Hallie?
I'm doing okay. I kind of wanted to take a nap earlier, but then I'm recording a podcast now, and that's good. Which is nothing against y'all, and much more to do with the fact that it was like a big old snow day up here over the past 2, and I've just felt like napping on the couch.
That's right. You're in New England, and it's like getting hit.
It is. It is.
We don't get any snow here. It's a bummer.
Tragic.
But we did take a nap. We had no excuse. We just took a nap.
I mean, you can still take a nap. That's fine. You're allowed, especially with the... I don't want to take snow and your nap taking from you, right?
Give us some of the snow and we'll stop taking naps. Is that fair?
Okay, this stuff is kind of powdery. Also, I don't want to take your naps. And you can have some of the snow. You can have, like, all of the snow after the beginning of January.
So I can have your snow, I can have naps, and your residuals?
Apparently, yes.
This is a good day for me.
I'm glad to make your life better, Joe.
I would normally do the ask you what all of Doctor Who you have seen, but you did that in the bonus episode, and I'm releasing that next time, so you don't gotta do it. Congratulations, you're off the hook.
Yay!
I like leaving it as a cliffhanger. People can find out next time how much Doctor Who you've seen.
Give them a reason to tune in.
There you go.
All will be revealed.
But yeah, y'all ready to talk about Doctor Who?
Let's talk about Doctor Who. I will say up front, I'm really excited that we're recording this episode in the wake of Matrix Resurrections, because I feel like they're very similar pieces of media. Greatest Show in the Galaxy and Matrix Resurrections.
I think it's all the leather and sunglasses.
Yeah.
But I have called episode 1 Just the Ticket.
Oh, that's good.
That's pretty solid. That's the thing that he says in the serial.
Just the doctor says some puns, and I enjoy them. So
I think my title for this episode would be Porridge Fruit. Because that fruit's wigged me out, man.
Oh, God, yeah, that fruit is gross.
fair enough. How this episode starts is with a little bit of a prologue in which a circus ringmaster comes out. And there's no easy way to put this. He does a bit of a rap.
I don't know if I said this before, but this season of Doctor Who has a weird obsession with Black American music.
It's not particularly
Good rapping.
good rap, no.
But, like, yeah, there's rapping in this one, there's blues in Happiness Patrol, there's jazz in Silver Nemesis. It doesn't carry over into next season, really, but it is a thing that is there.
There's nothing in Remembrance of the Daleks, but there is racism.
There is racism.
No music.
No
Just
music.
racism.
That's what the people are here for.
Christine, when you've previously guested on Doctor Who episodes that have sort of episode-created music.
Like rhythmic chants.
Rhythmic chants, yes, in the Macra Terror.
Uh-huh.
You generally perform said chants.
I mean, I don't have it in front of me. If you have the text, I will gladly recite it.
You will?
Yeah, if you give me the text. This is the promise that I make to you. I will make no effort to find the text. But if it is presented in front of me, I will read it.
He already has it.
I already have it.
Of course he does. All right, is everyone ready?
Yes,
Yep.
so very ready.
My favorite classic Who serial.
For the full experience, you have to imagine that it's set to the beat that you would hear in a PSA
Exactly.
about buckling your seatbelt or not doing drugs in school.
No, I'm gonna beatbox.
Oh, go ahead, Hallie. Beatbox. This can only go well. Now, welcome, folks. I'm sure you'd like to know. We're at the start of one big circus show. There are acts that are cool and acts that amaze. Some acts are scary and some acts will daze. Acts of all kinds, you can count on that. But folks that fly to disappearing acts. There's lots of surprises for the family at the greatest show in the galaxy. So many strange surprises. I'm prepared to bet whatever you've seen before, you ain't seen nothing yet. He does a little pause, I remember.
That was pretty dead on.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I am bad at rapping.
I mean, honestly, so is this ringleader.
Exactly.
I mean, he's doing good with the material he's got.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, it's not a very well thought out rap, I don't think. Musically or lyrically.
This was like the 80s, wherein like rap was around, but like adults only kind of knew like Sugar Hill Gang.
Yeah, I was about to say Rapper's Delight.
Yeah, Rapper's Delight.
When did that come out? 1980.
So that's like every adult's frame of reference for rap music at this point in time, especially if you're British.
So that happened. Welcome to the greatest show in the galaxy. Then we cut to the TARDIS. I believe the only time we see inside the TARDIS this season? Maybe for the remainder of the 7th Doctor era, possibly?
I don't know. It's possible. I honestly don't remember. And I've watched this era a lot.
I'm pretty sure it's the only time we see inside it this season for sure. I don't know if it's the last time we see it because I haven't seen the rest yet, but...
And it's true. Thinking about this scene, it does feel different. Like, watching it, I realized that I don't see them in the TARDIS very often. Especially because I feel like the 7th Doctor and Ace are kind of in a slightly different television show that everyone else has been in up to this point. It almost feels like Marvel's Ultimate Doctor Who.
No, God, you're kind of right.
Where it's almost in its own continuity, and it's the same basic premise, and the characters are sort of the same, but also kind of a little bit different. And so, like, seeing these characters in the TARDIS, including when Ace is about to come out and what Ace is wearing, like, it does feel almost weird.
Because he is practicing juggling while she is looking for her rucksack, which is I feel like, is that a British term, rucksack? I don't think I've ever heard the phrase rucksack.
I've definitely heard it, but it sounds British.
Yeah, I think it's like stuck around in Britain longer than it's stuck around over here. But it might just be British. I don't know.
She's looking for that and her Nitro 9, and she sort of crawls out of a closet with the Fourth Doctor's scarf on.
It's a good look.
It is a good look.
It is.
Oh, speaking of the juggling, though, for fun fact, some of this episode was written with the fact that Sylvester McCoy has some circus talents, circus skills. However, I believe he did not know how to juggle, and he had to learn how to juggle for this serial.
That's amazing.
As well as a few other things.
But also, Sylvester McCoy is game.
Yeah.
He is nothing if not game.
So that scene of him learning at the beginning is him literally learning.
That's exciting.
The beginning of this serial just starts introducing some wild, crazy stuff, and I'm here for it. We see a man, we'll learn his name is Nord, wearing a big bat bike helmet, and he riding a motorcycle.
It looks like a tricycle. It's like a motor tricycle. He's got big bat wings on his helmet. He looks like a heavy metal cover.
Isn't he also wearing just like a t-shirt with huge like armory shoulder pads? But I very much got the sense of him as like some dude you'd see at a concert.
I love that he like opens a compartment on his bike and takes out a full burger.
Fuck yes.
And eats it.
I can only assume it's like been heated by his engine too, which is a pretty cool idea.
He doesn't care. He's a badass. He'll eat a lukewarm burger.
So like, does that pocket always contain a burger?
I have to imagine it is a snack pocket.
I was about to say, sometimes it's probably some nugs.
Okay.
It looks like a lunchbox.
Nugs are harder on the go.
You gotta dip.
You gotta
dip. No, this is the problem.
It's difficult to juggle the sauce.
You think it's going to be easier, but then it's not, because you gotta juggle the sauce.
Exactly.
You just learned how to juggle the sauce from Sylvester McCoy.
Yeah, I was about to say, that's my new name for this episode.
Juggle the sauce.
You gotta juggle the sauce. You gotta juggle the sauce.
And he doesn't just ride up. He appears in like a cloud of smoke.
Like so much time is dedicated to this.
In front of a big billboard for the Psychic Circus. I guess this is where people just teleport in, I guess?
They talk about it later. It's like, this is the landing pad. It's the teleport landing pad where everyone can arrive.
You have to appear on some sort of bicycle.
That does seem to be the case.
That is true.
Though the next person to appear is drastically different, but we'll get there.
No, but yeah, Nord definitely has like big Mad Max vibes going.
Oh, huge.
We go back to the TARDIS for a scene from Kerblam.
It is wild how much Kerblam is in this serial.
It's a good Kerblam.
It's a good Kerblam.
Imagine.
I don't have to. It exists. It's called the greatest show in the galaxy. Because a little robot comes into the TARDIS while everybody's distracted and plugs into the console and plays an ad for the circus. Ace complains about junk mail.
I do love the idea that space junk mail has made the jump to New Who.
No, and I love the way that Ace says, like, oh, wow, junk mail that talks back, which is a very Russell T. Davies idea.
Yeah, and, like, not only does it talk back, it calls her
goes there.
chicken. Yeah. Because she's like, I don't like the circus, and I especially don't like clowns. And the doctor is like, oh, but I love the circus, and I want to go to the circus.
The Doctor's Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, the doctor's Mickey Mouse.
Is this some sort of like viral advertising Twitter bot?
And the robot joins in with the doctor and being like, you're just scared. You don't want to go because you're scared.
They talk a lot about how this era of the show is about making the Doctor more mysterious. Or, like, taking the Doctor back to the way that we conceived of him back at the beginning of the show. And people talk about that in terms of making the Doctor more unknowable. But really, a lot of what it is just making Ace more the viewpoint character of the show. Like, Ace is the person who has an arc in this serial. Already, up to this point, and going forward even more, the show gives Ace arcs. And it's almost kind of, that's the main reframing that's happening. Which is another thing that, of course, Russell T. Davies really takes and runs with, is the idea that, like, the narrative ultimately centers around Ace in terms of the story and the arc.
Are you saying the Doctor doesn't have an arc?
I mean, the Doctor kind of just does Doctor stuff.
That's true. Then we get two more characters. Actually, 3. We get Flower Child and Bellboy. One of them looks like he's from an emo band. That would be Bellboy. And the other one's a hippie. They're both kind of hippies.
Well, they're all hippies. They're all very explicitly hippies. This serial is about the death of 60s idealism.
Among other things.
Among other things. The serial is about everything.
But they are being chased by a clown in a hearse.
That's your whole vibe, isn't it?
Clown in a hearse? Yeah. That's what I want to be.
Such a fucking creepy clown.
He's so good.
Genuinely one of the greatest Doctor Who villains ever.
I hate him so much.
This clown is so good. His face is so good. His performance is so good. So creepy. Just genuinely unsettling every time we see him. And like, the more we see him and the more we understand him, that does not affect how creepy he is and how much we are afraid of him.
He does this like great thing with his hand next to his face.
Oh, especially when people die. Like, he specifically does it when people die. He does this hand move where he like does like almost like a jazz hand by his face, but he holds it still and he kind of, it's hard to explain, but like
he twirls it.
Yeah.
Like swings it forward.
But like really slow and uncannily.
While doing a big smile.
Very unsettling.
Can we talk about his mouth for a second?
If we have to.
It's like he's got this asymmetrical makeup on his mouth where like half of it's turned up in a smile, like a creepy Joker smile, and the other half is in a creepy Joker frown, which I didn't know was the thing. And it's not okay. It's not okay.
Absolutely not.
The duality of clown.
Don't like this clown.
And again, he is driving a hearse, which is also pretty creepy. And they are somehow using kites to track down Flower Child and Bellboy, who are on the run from them.
Which we later reveal, like, Flower Child made herself, right?
Yeah, these are her kites.
And Bellboy made the robots. The clowns are robots, we will eventually learn.
They're being chased by their own shit.
Yes, except for, we don't know for a fact that the head clown is a clown. The head clown, I think, is a person.
Yes. I'm pretty sure he is. I'm pretty sure he's a real dude. Let's introduce another character. The Doctor and Ace go to a snack bar, where they are immediately called weirdos.
There is this woman who has a food truck that sells the aforementioned porridge fruits, and she does not like the fact that the Psychic Circus brings in riffraff and weirdos.
And to prove that they are not riffraff and weirdos, the Doctor and Ace eat this weird porridge fruit.
With their hands.
With their hands.
It's almost looks like it's filled with mac and cheese.
Ugh.
Or creamed corn.
That's some David Lynch stuff there.
Creamed corn.
And like, this woman kind of exists to be like, she's like real kind of like lower middle class, like British woman, like
just a no nonsense salt of the earth type.
Yeah, salt of the earth, but like also very uncomfortable with outsiders, kind of xenophobic. I will say, there's so many things in this serial, so many wild ideas and characters that like you would feel like it could easily be too much. But it all gets held together because everything feels like it fits with each other. Even though it's all kind of weird and singular, even though there's this old woman here, she's not that old, she's like middle age. There's this woman here, there's Nord, the Vandal, like all the other weird characters that we're going to meet. They all sort of feel like they're thematically in the same story.
I also think it kind of revels at throwing weird shit at you.
Oh, it really does.
Like, that is part of the fun that this serial is having.
Do you know what weirdly, this is a weird idea, but do you know what I think helps tie it all together? The fact that it's set in the desert, which makes me think of Australia, and Australia has some weird sci-fi. This gives me very strong
What?
Farscape vibes and Mad Max vibes.
Yeah, and it's the desert, and also just the circus.
I thought you were going to go Burning Man that way.
And also just the fact that, like, everything is weird, but also everything serves, like, a very specific thematic purpose. Even stuff that feels, like, kind of extraneous has usually some kind of thematic thing that it's doing to, like, work with the overall narrative that's happening, which is, again, about the death of the 60s, and also about the burnout that comes from when you have to create content for 25 years. Because this serial, guys, it's about Doctor Who.
It very much is. In a way that Trial of a Time Lord tried to be
was gonna
and
say,
failed at.
Wishes that it was.
Yeah. This is like Trial of a Time Lord done right.
Yeah, which is why I kind of brought up Matrix Resurrections, because it also feels like a serial that is reckoning with the process of having to make it for an audience, and also the way that it's received by the audience, and about aligning itself with the audience that it wants, and not the audience that it doesn't want. And like reasserting like what the values of the show are and who it stands with.
Do you know what it reminds me of in New Who? That whole scene where the Doctor is just like, Doctor Who, that's my name. I like it. Where it's very much the show just going like, yeah, these are the people who like are correct. The people who will like call the character Doctor Who and don't care.
The people who don't take it so obsessively seriously.
Correct.
Which is interesting, because the next person who teleports in is Chris Chibnall.
That's right. The serial's also about murdering Chris Chibnall. But we'll get there.
Nord shows up at the snack bar as well, and Ace tries to help him with his bike because it doesn't sound very good, and he refuses her help. And the Doctor asks for a ride, but Nord counter-offers with doing something unpleasant to his face, which is a very good line.
He also threatens to do something unpleasant to Ace's ears. It feels like this is his go-to threat.
Ears is way too specific for me.
It's
It
incredibly
is.
too specific.
But also, like, I could imagine someone doing something to my face.
Your ears are
I
part of
don't
your face.
know what if someone threatens to do something to my ears, I don't know what they're going to do. If someone threatens to do something to my face, I assume they're just going to punch me. I don't know what they're going to do to my ears.
Well, Willie.
He also has this helmet with big ears. It could be that he has an ear fixation.
He's going to stretch your ears out.
Ears are the windows to the soul.
Meanwhile, Flower Child finds an abandoned bus that was, after the serial was finished filming, they abandoned in the desert, by the way.
Nice.
Oh, no.
Yeah, they asked permission first.
Good.
They're like, can we leave this here? And they're like, yeah, we don't care. Also, it is a leftover from a previous serial. This is a redesigned bus from Delta and the Bannermen.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Oh, from when they killed those people.
Yeah.
When all those people died and it was fine.
I just like that they left like a hippie painted bus in the middle of the desert somewhere. Has anyone gone to find it?
Imagine finding it.
Oh, I don't know if it's still there. I hope so. That'd be awesome. And there's just a robot sitting in the back of it. Because, yes, Flower Child tries to open this cash box, but is grabbed by an unseen robot and murdered. And she loses her earring, which she gave one of her earrings to Bellboy earlier. They split up at some point to spread out so that the clowns couldn't get them so easily. But yeah, she has these big hoop earrings, which causes a bit of a continuity problem in Doctor Who. Because they shuffled the order of the serials. And like at one
Ace
point...
puts it on her jacket.
Yeah, Ace puts it on her jacket, and she has it in a previous serial.
Yeah, I think she has it in Silver Nemesis.
Because Silver Nemesis was supposed to be the finale, and they switched it to this.
It was the right call, though.
I kind of disagree.
Yeah?
I think Silver Nemesis would have been a better finale. Like, this is a stronger finale, but I think Silver Nemesis would have been a fitting finale, because it kind of mirrors Remembrance.
I can see that.
Yeah, that's true.
It is interesting how 3 of the 4 serials this season are in some way or another like directly about Doctor Who. Like Remembrance has all the references, Silver Nemesis has the Doctor Who question thing, and like this just is completely about Doctor Who.
It's becoming more meta, but in a good way.
I do think this is probably the apex of the meta-ness.
And like they're pretty much all critical of the British government, right?
Oh yeah, of course. Andrew Cartmel
wanted to take down the government with Doctor Who, right?
Good for him.
Yeah, that was his specific quote. Like, they asked him, what do you want to do with Doctor Who? And he's like, I want to bring down the government.
It's just the right vibe.
Yeah. Come on, Russell T. Davies.
So, the Doctor and Ace don't get a ride with Nord, and instead they have to walk to the circus and are almost run over by the hearse. But they meet 2 more characters, Captain Cook and Mags, who are digging up a giant robot out of the sand. Captain Cook is basically a colonial mirror of the Doctor.
Which I think is really interesting, the way that they use Captain Cook to acknowledge the way that Doctor Who as like a premise and as a character with like this white guy who goes to other worlds and solves problems based on his own value system is a very colonialist idea. So it creates this very explicitly colonialist mirror to the Doctor that acknowledges the history of where all these tropes came from while simultaneously rejecting it. It like creates this character to say, yeah, it could be this, but we're not doing that. We're going to go a different way. We're going to have this version of Doctor Who be the enemy.
God, they do a good job of making this character just despicable.
They really do.
The worst person.
And they do a really good job of making Mags seem rad as hell.
Yes!
Holy shit, this person is hot.
Yeah, yep.
No, Mags is great.
Mags is great. We stan a Mags.
She's just like 80s punk hot. That's it. That's just it. She gets hotter later on. But we'll get there. There's a transformation that happens, and I'm here for it. That's all I'm saying.
Joe's got a thing for monster girls.
To be fair, she doesn't look super...
Oh, we'll talk about how she looks when we get there.
Fair enough.
Joe, are you a monster fucker?
I think Joe might be a monster fucker.
It depends on the monster.
We've never talked about it, but are you a monster fucker?
It depends on the monster, probably.
He also wants to fuck the dean as a demon. He wants to fuck a lot of demons.
Demon or a devil? There's a difference.
That's true.
Yeah, it's gotta be the devil.
Yeah.
If Brennan Lee Mulligan were here, he would make the point of making the distinction.
Like, I feel like the dean was specifically
I like the way you
devil.
said that, like he's someone we know.
Yeah.
We know someone who saw him once. On a plane.
I mean, I know someone who worked on 4th edition D&D. Maybe he could weigh in.
Yeah, but yeah, like the dean specifically dressed up like a devil, not a demon. There's a difference.
Got it.
Anyway,
I
we're
want to probe
diving
into
too
that more,
much.
but I'll wait.
Please don't. Oh boy. Cutting all of this out.
You said it depends on the monster, and so
Yeah.
I kind of want to know what your criteria are.
Yeah.
Like anything that looks too much like an animal, no.
Got it. That makes sense.
It's
I
gotta
got
be
you.
more on the human side than
I get it.
like a hot werewolf, but that like still looks like kind of like is basically a human, just a little furry.
Still
Maybe.
got titties.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, Joe, you're not allowed to cut this out.
Oh fuck. Okay. Well, they're digging a robot out of the sands. That's cool. The robot comes alive and grabs Mags and starts blasting lasers. I'm desperately trying not to notice Mag's legs in this scene, but I can't help it.
Please don't address my fetishes when we're talking about robots. Thank you.
Oh god, this is just a fetish episode. What is
It is
happening?
a little.
Hey, what are you all into? Let's go round table.
I mean, I think I firmly established it's Max.
Well, I think intentionally so. I think not unlike Matrix Resurrections, like this is a serial that is throwing its lot in with queers and weirdos.
Absolutely.
Like Mags is super queer coded. Like even before we find out that she is a werewolf, which like has all kinds of queer coding and trans coding.
Spoilers.
Spoilers, werewolves are queer.
Exactly. Like, yeah, I do think that that's intentional.
No, I agree. But while she's being attacked, the Doctor and Ace go to help, while Cook does nothing. He just drinks tea. So we get an immediate idea of how much of a bastard this guy is.
He's got like a pith helmet. He looks not unlike the White Guardian.
You know what? Yeah.
Pre-Headbird White Guardian.
My immediate go-to was the bad guy from Jumanji. But,
Yep.
Yeah, same.
Quick plug for our Patreon. Patrons are seeing a kitty right now.
Oh, nice.
So.
So now we get one more character. Perhaps the last one? I'm not sure. No, there's still more characters to come. But we get Wizkid.
Wizkid.
That is his canonical name.
Oh my god, it is?
His name is Wizkid. He shows up on the platform on a bicycle. This character does have kind of a trans guy, non-binary look.
He's dressed kind of like a stereotypical nerd. He's got like he's got like a sweater vest, right?
Yeah, he's got a sweater vest.
Glasses, and his hair's,
His hair stands up. He's got an alfalfa-ness to him.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And when this happened, the thing I immediately turned to Toni and said was, I hope he's going to fuck shit up. Unfortunately, he doesn't, but later Toni told me that he will in fact fuck up 3 seasons of Doctor Who. So...
Because, yes, we can talk about this. There's that famous clip of Chris Chibnall, who was on, like, the news or something, talking about Trial of a Time Lord and about how much Doctor Who isn't good anymore.
To be fair, he wasn't wrong.
And he wasn't wrong. But the production did see this and did take a little bit of offense.
You say they saw this. The writers were there when he said it.
Yeah, Pip and Jane were there.
Oh, poor Pip and Jane.
He said it right to their fucking faces.
That's cold. I mean, Pip and Jane, they've got some nonsense going on, but it's delightful, lovable nonsense.
It is.
Like, I talk shit about Chris Chibnall all day, but I'm not going to do it to his face.
Personally, I would, because I think that's the difference between, like, you should never say anything to about someone else that you wouldn't say to their face.
I'm with Toni on this one.
Oh, no, yeah. I would say things to Chris Chibnall's face.
I don't know.
I feel like the rule's a little bit different with, like, public people.
It's true.
That's true.
I don't know. There's a plenty. I am nice to everyone, but when I get home, I will talk shit about people.
Oh, yeah.
That is true, you will.
What I will say about this character is I don't think, as much as no one likes this character, because this character, we will find out, is a big fan of the Psychic Circus and is a very explicit parody of Doctor Who fans. I do think the show is not unsympathetic to the character and, like, understands being a fan.
I do also want to say that when Toni said that he will fuck up 3 seasons of Doctor Who, Toni actually said he will fuck up 2 seasons of Doctor Who, because Toni completely forgot that Chris Chibnall did 3 seasons.
Correct.
Which I think says everything.
And some specials.
Some to come. But meanwhile, Bellboy collapses at the snack bar and is grabbed by the hearse clown, who does not get a name. I think he's just called the Chief Clown.
Yeah.
He's so creepy.
I hate him.
I love him. I hate him, but I love to hate him. So.
I get it.
You want to fuck him, I understand.
I don't want to fuck the clown.
Joseph,
Yeah.
do you want to fuck him?
I don't want to fuck the clown.
Joseph, this is a safe space.
I'm not a clown fucker. I'm not a clown fucker.
You can tell us if you're a clown fucker.
I'm not a clown fucker.
I won't be mad.
Here's the thing.
You know what?
I feel like you've shown me pictures of sexy clowns before.
Oh, wait. You know what? Maybe.
It's a good episode of podcast time.
Oh, there's a thing I could say, but I'm not. I will say that at one point in my life, I did want to be a clown.
Huh.
Yeah, no, I know. That's your vibe.
No, that makes a lot of sense.
And in fact, I knew someone who worked in the circus in the Barnum and Bailey.
Oh, I do like this story.
And she found a clown shoe, like it did not have a match. So she found it, and then she's like, I'm going to take this, and I'm going to give it to Joe, because Joe likes clowns, and also Joe has big feet. So I think this would be funny. I put the clown shoe on, and my foot would not fit into it.
I thought you were going to tell...
I'm going to tell that, too. But, like, my foot won't fit in a clown shoe because they actually pad the ending, so my foot is too big for a clown shoe. But I still have it. It's up in there. Also, apparently, all the clowns just fuck.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they have clown orgies all the time.
No, of course.
Yeah,
Why wouldn't you?
That makes sense.
And it's on, like, a tiny train, by the way. Like, they live in a train. So they have, like, tiny rooms, and the clowns just all bunk together and just fuck constantly. That's what I've heard.
That's something you gotta know about clowns.
You just hear it through the hallways, and it's just like... Which is also a sound that Christine hears all the damn time. You are haunted by clowns fucking.
Oh.
It's true.
Some things that all of you have said make a lot more sense now.
What is up with that, Christine?
I don't know. I still don't know. I occasionally will hear honking noises outside my window. I don't know when they will happen, but they just happen. I've never investigated them.
It's when the clowns are feeling amorous.
Yeah, I am slightly afraid to find out, but also want to preserve the mystery. And so I'll just be like video chatting. I'll be on the phone with someone, And then suddenly I'll just go, oh, the clowns are back. I'm trying to remember if it happened when Ray Friesen was here.
I think so. I think I remember you saying that he heard it too. And so we had confirmation.
Yeah, I don't think it happened when I was there.
No, it did not happen when you were here, but when Ray Friesen was here, the clowns did arrive.
That makes sense. If anyone can draw clowns, it's Ray Friesen. Both, like, physically draw them to him, as well as draw them, because he's an artist.
That's true.
Anyway, we're
What are
talking
we talking about?
Clowns.
fucking clowns. But back to Doctor Who. The Doctor, Ace, Captain Cook, and Mags find the bus. And the bus conductor robot comes out and asks for tickets while shooting lasers at them with the ticket box.
Sorry. The Venga bus. the Venga bus happened in my brain.
What if instead of the robot, it was just that, like, old bald-headed...
The
Six
Flags
Flags
mascot?
guy.
Yeah. Give me your tickets.
He would feel part of it. It would feel consistent.
And it would be a metaphor about, I don't know, commercialization of Doctor Who. I don't know.
Exactly.
I think Christine and I settled on industrialization.
And commodification of art.
And commodification, right. Both of them.
Sure, it's everything.
It's about the industrialization and commodification of art.
That's what Doctor Who is for. But he comes out shooting lasers at them. The Doctor makes a crocodile sandwich joke I did not catch when we were originally watching it. He just rambles off a bunch of stuff. He's asking, like, for a very specific ticket. And at one point he says something about crocodile and make it snappy. But it's just in a long, rambling thing. So they buys time. But then he, like, takes the ticket box and points it at the robot. And it lasers itself. And that's when he says, my title, just the ticket. Good joke, good joke. Love it, love it, love it. Meanwhile, Bellboy is returned to the circus where we meet another character, Morgana, who is a fortune teller. There's a crystal ball and all that jazz.
No, this is the rap episode.
Standard fortune teller garb. It's necessarily kind of racist. There's no way around it. It's racist, but it's like, it's also one of those things where it's like, this is a circus trope, and like the circus trope is racist. So it's like, but also we're doing it.
Aren't clowns kind of racist, or is that a myth? I don't know.
I don't think clowns are racist. I mean,
I've heard it go back and forth both ways, so...
American clowns and minstrelsy have like a intertwined history, but it's complicated.
But then Ace finds the earring outside the bus, pins it to her jacket. And the Doctor is satisfied that evil has been vanquished, because he did sense some evil. But he's like, it was definitely that robot, not the circus. Let's go to the circus!
Yay!
And they proceed to the circus.
I love the Doctor just stopping places, by the way, and being like, something evil happened here. And it's like, what sense is that?
He's got a spidey sense.
When did you get detect good and evil?
So I went to see Neil Gaiman, like, on his Last Angel tour, like, back in the late 90s, early 2000s. And there was a Q&A. He did, like, some reading for American Gods, which wasn't out yet. And so it was short stories, which was lovely. And then there was a Q&A section where someone asked him, like, hey, whatever happened to you doing something with David Lynch? And Neil Gaiman said, well, I knew that I could never work with David Lynch. After we were working together on the project, and I went to his house, and he was making a plaster cast of his basement sink. And he said that, one, we should put a scene in where the main character is tied to a chair and then, like, pushes against them and says, these ropes feel evil. And the second part, he said, is, Neil, I really like what you've done here. But at the end, instead of where you reveal everything, let's cut back to the house he was in at the beginning of the movie, and he walks around, and he picks things up, and he puts them down. And then we pull back, and we see that he's on the moon. So apparently David Lynch might be able to perceive evil if he's just in a space.
That sounds about right.
If anyone can. Yeah.
That tracks.
He fascinates me.
If anyone knows about Crazy Clown Time, it's David Lynch.
David Lynch is outside of your apartment honking horns. That's what's happening.
That is his latest art project. It's just sitting outside Christine's window, honking horns at various times of year.
In that case, I feel honored.
And then we pull back and you're on the moon. Okay, so Cook and Mags get to the circus first, and they head on in. And then they see something happen to Bellboy that we don't get to see. There's just flashing lights. And Mag starts screaming because she's the companion. So outside, Ace hears the screams, but the ringleader mutes Mag somehow, like with a remote. I don't entirely know what that is.
It's never explained again. Like, it's never used again. It's never explained. It's just a thing.
And she's screaming, but there's no sound being made. And the doctor's like, you didn't hear shit. There's no screaming. So are we going to go in or not? And that is the cliffhanger, is whether or not they're going to go in.
The most amazing cliffhanger ever. Are we going to go to the circus?
Dun, dun, dun.
I do like that, though, because, as I was saying earlier, we are really refocusing the show around Ace and her agency and what she wants and her arc. So, like, it does actually make a sort of sense to, like, have the cliffhanger be a choice that she is making.
And it does feel like it's coming after, like, what would normally be the cliffhanger, which is a companion screaming.
Exactly.
At some sort of horrifying reveal. But that's the end of episode 1. We're now into episode 2, which I have called Join the Club, which is another pun that the doctor says at some point. So Ace doesn't want to go in, but they do it anyway. And the doctor talks to Morgana, who reads his fortune and pulls the Hanged Man card. But he doesn't look at it. Does that mean anything if you don't look at your fortune? Does that mean it won't happen?
I've never heard that before, but sure. I don't know. There's some sort of uncertainty principle novelty to it, but I don't know.
I figured if anyone would know, it would be you.
I mean, yeah, I haven't figured it out yet.
You'll have to figure it out for your next episode.
Okay.
Some homework. But they discuss the places that the Psychic Circus have been, though they travel no longer. They've settled down here. It seems like Morgana starts to, I don't know, trust the doctor or something, and it seems like she's about to warn him not to go in, but the clown pops his scary little face in and is like, come on in. And they're like, but we haven't bought tickets. He's like, doesn't matter, come on in. Which, never go into a free circus. That's a trap.
Yeah, they get you with the DLC there. They just upsell you the entire time you're in there. They make all their money on concessions.
Having worked at the movie theater, that is a model I am familiar with.
God, I was so good at upselling.
I never really thought about movie theater popcorn as DLC.
It definitely is, though.
For $25, you get a loot box. It might have popcorn in it.
You know what? They do that shit, though. Like, hey, Matt, Golden. When we went and saw Ghostbusters Afterlife with Matt Golden, he I don't know if he bought, he was trying to buy. AMC had just like a popcorn bucket that was in the shape of the Ecto-1. It was like a collectible Ecto-1 thing, and your popcorn was in it. And like, I'm pretty sure it's smaller than any popcorn size they have.
But much more expensive.
But much more expensive. But like, yeah, that's just DLC. You get a little Ecto-1 popcorn bucket. That's exactly what that is.
Yeah, it's just a reskin on your popcorn bucket.
And you're getting less popcorn, I swear.
I might make popcorn after this.
You say that. Every time we record a podcast, and you're like, we should get some relevant food thing after the podcast. And I'm like, yeah, let's do it. And every time afterwards, I'm like, do you want to go do it? And you're like, no, I don't want to now.
I get very snacky during it, and then very sleepy afterwards.
Yeah, no, that tracks.
It's the fact that I can't eat snacks while we're recording the podcast that I'm thinking about snacks 90% of the time. Like, man, if it wasn't a sound issue, I'd be eating so much.
I'm sitting here next to like a big crunchy apple that I have not eaten, and it has taken all of my willpower to do so.
That's tragic.
You just time it when you know you're not going to be talking for a while, and then you're like, that's what you do. The problem is, like, for me, is that I do probably 75% of the talking, so, because I'm doing the recap, so I can't snack.
I haven't recorded this with y'all before, so I don't know when my talking time is.
I just feel like we should get more comfortable with listening to other people snack. I
what?
just think if we all agree that it's fine, then we can all eat again. I get so upset watching Dimension 20 when they're like stealing snacks, and I'm like, just let them eat!
Right?
Just let them play the game and also eat salami. Leave them alone.
But like, some people can't take that. They don't like seeing people eat.
I guess that's true.
They hate Brad Pitt.
Let Brennan eat salami.
I feel like we've talked about Dimension 20 about as much as we've talked about Doctor Who this episode. Friend of the show, Brennan Lee Mulligan.
Sure.
It's true. Bree saw him in an airplane once. It counts.
It counts.
I didn't know that.
She didn't talk to him, and that's a shame. So, the Doctor and Ace take their seats in the dark. It's just dark, and there's no one else there. They have a hard time finding their seats because there's no lights. But they sit down, and there is a family seated behind them. A mom, a dad, and a little girl. And the Doctor tries chatting with them. They don't say anything, but they do offer their chips, which is nice.
I don't think they offer it to him.
I think he just takes it.
Do you think she was just handing it over to the dad?
Yeah.
Well, she, specifically pushes it out in front of the
Yeah,
dad.
I think she's pushing it over to the dad, and the Doctor's like, oh, thank you. I don't think it was offered to him at all.
No, I don't think it was either. Also, there's a really fun moment right when they come in where, right before they go into the circus, there's the sound of a roaring crowd. The second they go through the, tent, it's dead silent.
Yeah.
It's so unsettling.
And then something even more unsettling happens.
He eats one potato chip.
The rap happens again.
There's more rap. Let me see if I can find it.
Is it another verse? Or is it the same rap again?
No,
it's
there's
different.
verses every time.
Wait, really?
Yes.
Yep.
I wasn't actually paying enough attention to realize that. Wow.
Christine, you gonna lay me down a beat?
Okay, cool. All right.
Now, welcome, folks. I mean that from the heart, because the greatest show is about to start. It's happening right here before your eyes. And one thing's for sure, you're in for quite a surprise, but then nothing's quite as it seems to be at the greatest show in the galaxy. The ringmaster adjusts the controls in the back of one clown, and it does a somersault. Now, welcome, folks. We've got a brand new act. He's a real find, and no doubt that's a fact. He'll entertain you, he'll make you stare, and our great new act is seated over there.
Hey, you know what that means, Tony? We're next.
Yeah. Anyway, he points to the Doctor.
Before he points to the Doctor, though, the Doctor does point out that there are some weird ceremonial stones around the ring that become important later. But, yes, then he is pointed out and is like, you're part of the show now. And he's like, hell yeah! And leaps down there.
And we have established that there is a festival going on where there's a talent competition.
Yes. And then, yes, while he's going up to talk to the ringleader, the clown has noticed that Ace has the earring on and just creeps up behind her and is like, hey, where'd you find that? Where'd you get that? Where'd you get that earring, huh?
Oh, no. In this amazing bit, this is a very well-directed serial where it's this kind of really close wide-angle shot of Ace while all of the clowns sort of dance around her, like Cirque du Soleil. It's cool as hell and very creepy.
You a clown fucker, Christine?
You can tell us.
You can tell us.
You can tell us
this
if you're
is
a
a
clown
safe
fucker.
space.
I mean, not yet.
That's fair.
Yeah. Keep your options open.
Just a clown chaser?
David Lynch is just waiting for you to come outside.
I will say the Wizkid does have David Lynch hair.
He does have David Lynch hair.
But Ace is creeped out by this clown, as one should be. She kind of runs off and uses the earring to cut a hole in the tent and just leaps through it.
You know how in Doctor Who they get a lot of mileage out of using one corridor over and over again? This time, all the corridors are made of tent, fabric.
And it wasn't going to be that way originally.
Ooh.
I think it works way better as being all tents and stuff. I think that's a really cool thing, but it was actually going to be filmed in a studio, and they couldn't film in that studio because of asbestos or something like that. There was some safety concern, and they had to renovate the studio. So they were like, we're gonna have to cancel this or film it somewhere else.
Yet more dealing with the themes of the problematic fallout in the 80s of the joyful optimism of the 60s.
A new level of meta.
Or angry optimism of the 60s. Anyway.
But I do think that that was an improvement. The Doctor is taken to the back where he joins Captain Cook and Mags and Nord. As soon as he gets in there, the door shuts behind him and we find out the curtain is pulled away and we see that they're all locked in a cage.
The Doctor is very surprised by this.
Way more surprised than he should be.
I don't know how much of this is a he was planning on doing all of this the whole time situation, like some of the other episodes this season.
He definitely hints at it later.
But that also could be bullshit. The Doctor just seems really credulous. Really credulous this episode. Just like, yeah, ooh, I want to be in the circus.
Maybe the Doctor never has a plan.
I think he was just blinded by his love for the circus.
I think so. But once they're all locked in the cage, we meet yet another new character. This character's name, for now, is Deadbeat, and he's cleaning up outside of the cage. He just rambles and says nonsensical things.
He is very much, like, portrayed as, if they're all hippies, and they're all explicitly called hippies, as, like, the hippie who took too many drugs, and it went bad.
Which is, like, what burnout used to mean, instead of, like,
just existing?
Yeah, just existing in the world at the moment.
Oh, that would actually have been a better name.
Continually being asked to exist over and over again.
Oh, right. His name's Deadbeat, not Burnout. Oops.
That's better. I think Burnout is a better name.
Right.
Rewrite this.
Okay. I'm like the one person here who doesn't write scripts, but okay.
It's up to you, Hallie. Fix Doctor Who. But Cook does something that he will do multiple times this serial. It's basically his turn to go out, but he plays a rigged game of heads or tails to basically get Nord to go out in his place. He has like 2 coins. One is a double-headed and one is double tails, and then basically just flips whatever coin that is the opposite of what Nord says. That
is his strategy, is to not ever go out into the ring by tricking people or convincing people to go out before him.
Mm-hmm. I know this guy is a foil for the Doctor and represents colonialism and all that jazz. I feel like he's also like that one dude in a job who's been there forever and has like figured out a way to not do anything. I feel like that is also this guy.
I mean, in many ways, that is the ethos of colonialism.
But, like, if this is a thing about Doctor Who, the cage is the writer's room.
And he's the writer that's just coasting?
Yeah.
He's the writer that, like, someone pitches an idea and he's like, yeah, that's a great idea, but then tries to make it seem like it was his own?
Yeah. Well, and it's like, younger people will get into the job and they'll just get chewed up by the industry and it'll be fine because it won't be you.
Oh, right. They'll burn out.
Yeah.
This serial works on all the levels.
I feel that particularly in the scene where...
With Wizkid?
Yeah.
Ace kind of hides out as she listens to Morgana talking with the ringleader. Morgana seems like she's not super enjoying what they're doing. My note says she expresses her lack of enjoyment with her employment. There was rapping going on and my brain just started rhyming. And as Ace is listening in, she accidentally knocks over a big kite and is chased away. And she hides in a closet. Or hides in a room where she finds Bellboy tied up. And she hides as the clown comes in and takes Bellboy away. We will learn they're taking him away to fix the bus bot.
I will also say, we talked a lot about Mags. I think in the interest of fairness, I think Bellboy is also hot.
Okay.
Bellboy's alright.
He gives me real My Chemical Romance vibes.
I mean, yeah, because they did that album that was all circusy.
Yeah. Exactly. But I mean, he's also like that level of attractiveness, I feel like. But Nord goes into the ring and gets high scores, all 9s, for lifting weights. The audience, the mom, the dad, and the child all hold up 9 signs because he's very strong. And then the ringmaster's like, and now he's gonna tell a joke!
But in a rapping way.
I don't think he raps this, does he?
No, he rhymes, though. Pretty much every time he is on stage in the ring, he is rapping. Or rhyming.
Oh, yeah. A man of mine is Nord, and now he'll go for broke by making all you laugh with his most favorite joke.
When he talks to the Doctor the first time, he is rhyming with the Doctor. Every time the Doctor says something, he says something that rhymes.
Oh,
wow. I did not notice that.
Freestyle. Nice. I did not notice that. But he fails to tell a joke and gets all 0s. Is this meta commentary about cutting the comedy out of Doctor Who?
It could be. That's the great thing about this kind of storytelling, wherein you have characters that sort of are acting at the same time as characters, as well as kind of thematic signifiers, is that, like, you get to let those characters and signs and symbols interplay in all these interesting ways, where even if it's not intentional, it makes sense and it's very consistent with the story, because so much of it is intentional.
So what does Nord represent?
Batman.
Again, I don't think it's 1-to-1. I think it's just, I think he's a Mad Max boy. I think he's violence. I think he's Eric Sayward.
I mean, if it is like he's telling a joke, well, first he does lift some weights. He does some, like, strength, does some violence, I guess. And then he does a joke, and he fails at the joke, and he gets disintegrated for it. It could be about how, like, Doctor Who has both been criticized for being too violent and for being too camp or whatever.
So he's Tom Baker.
He's Tom
Baker!
Okay, that makes sense.
We figured it out.
Still thinking about how much time is spent on the shot of him eating a burger. It's so much emphasis put on him eating that burger. I can't stop thinking about it.
Maybe you should have eaten before we recorded this podcast.
It's possible.
I made some beans.
We bought Flaming Hot Cheetos, and they're in the kitchen.
Oh shit, I still need to bake you cookies.
That's true.
You have to do it.
I do have to do it.
We'll give you some of your residuals for cookies.
Thank you. I think my residuals are just kind things y'all say about me, so that's fine.
Should I learn how to make fry bread?
Anyway, Wizkid is in the entrance area with Morgana.
The lobby,
yeah. And he's, like, nerding out about all the posters and talking about how great all these shows were. He's never been to them or seen them, but he's just going by what is said on the posters. Is this meta-commentary about fans getting all of their Doctor Who opinions from novelizations and review books?
100%. That is 100% commentary on that.
Then the Doctor and Mags are arguing about who is going to go first, and they've been juggling with, like, bowling pins. This is all a ploy to lure the guards in, and then they knock them out with the juggling clubs.
Yes.
Which is when the Doctor says, "Join the club!" Hey. And then they leave. But Captain Cook stays behind. Why doesn't he leave? Why wouldn't you leave?
He has a plan. We eventually find out that he kind of knows what's going on here to an extent and is hoping to profit off it.
I think he just wouldn't feel like he could be in control in the situation if he left with the girls, and here he feels like he is still in control and doesn't want to risk anything and doesn't want to be subject to two much younger women who are queer-coded.
Meanwhile, Ace is caught by the clown, who says, "Let me entertain you."
No!
And then there's some more rap when Wizkid is chosen from the audience. Toni, do you want to do this one?
No, I really don't.
So you want to beatbox?
Oh, God. Are those my choices?
Those are your choices.
I'll read it.
I guess I got to beatbox. I'm not very good at it.
I'm not either, and I did it. Toni, you were so excited when I did this.
I hate this so much.
Give us this joy, Toni. You don't have to.
This is so painful. Now listen, folks, we have a great new act. He's a real fun. There's no doubt, that's a fact. He'll entertain you. He'll make you stare. And our great new act is seated over there. Hated it.
It's cool. I'll do the last one, but you'll have to do the beatboxing.
Thank you, Toni. I really appreciate it.
Wizkid is chosen. They go back into the back and see all of the knocked out guards and Cook. Meanwhile, the Doctor and Mags find a stone entryway, and Mags is uncomfortable about the moons etched on it.
We already talked about how she's a werewolf. I'm interested in how her werewolf rules work.
They're Doctor Who werewolf rules. To be fair, this exact thing worked in Dimension 20.
I was just about to say that.
It happened in Fantasy High Season 2, remember?
Okay, but there was some shenanigans.
I mean, ancient etched moon symbols.
They were in like a dream forest that made...
Spoilers for Dimension 20 Season 2, the ending of the season.
Fantasy High. To be fair, there are some shenanigans here.
That's shenanigans, Tony.
What are the shenanigans? What are the rules?
Magic.
Is the circus secretly in the control of the Nightmare King?
I mean, kind of.
I think that eyeball down in the thing is the Night Yorb.
Ooh, it might be. But speak not of the Night Yorb, lest this become a Dimension 20 fan cast.
So she's uncomfortable about it, but they go on in. Ace is locked in a clown closet, and the clowns start to move.
It's really creepy. And again, this is a very well directed serial. It's very good at like having Ace in like the foreground, and there's like clowns in the background, and then like one of them starts to move slowly, and then we cut. It's really good.
So it's very well directed. And then on the last scene, the Doctor and Mags throw a lantern in a big pit. There's like a big well, which the lantern falling into the hole looks bad. But once it hits the bottom, it like clears out, and there's like just a big swirling like eyeball down there, and that looks rad as hell. And then Cook arrives with some clowns, and it's like tells the Doctor he's next up in the ring, and that's the cliffhanger. That's the end of episode 2, and we are now into episode 3, which I have called "There Is an I in Circus."
What?
There's also an us in circus.
I want to make it clear that in my notes I've spelled it EYE
That's
in circus.
magnificent.
Of course.
I'm really glad you did that.
There's also a circ. Those are the remaining letters. A CRC. So the robot clowns come for Ace, but then they are stopped by Bellboy, who can control them. Because he's also there. He was just asleep or something.
He's a robot whisperer.
The Mags and the Doctor are taken out of the eye cave, and she snarls at the moon symbol again. And in the confusion of dealing with that, the Doctor takes that opportunity to escape. He goes and looks at the kites and Morgana's crystal ball, which has the eye in it for some reason. And then he sees Deadbeat come up to the crystal ball, and he almost does something with it with like this necklace he has. But then he leaves. And then the Doctor reads one of the posters that says, "Fun for all the family. I don't know how they've got the nerve." Is that meta commentary about how this is a kid's show?
It could be. Again, it all could be.
I'm just going to say that after every little piece of that I've figured out on my own. And then there's a line that made Toni laugh very hard. Then we cut back to Bellboy and Ace, and Ace has been filling him in on stuff about Flower Child. And he says, "They murdered you with the robot I made."
It's a good line.
It's a good line.
It's such a good line.
And then Bellboy talks about the good old days, how they used to be a really cool circus in the 60s.
In the 60s. No, like, yeah, and these couple of scenes, we really, like, lay into the fact that, like, their circus was very, like, kind of communist and very, like, group-oriented and very hippie 60s.
They all had their own thing, and they did their own thing, and it was great.
And they've been talking about this throughout the serial. I think earlier, or maybe later, Captain Cook says, like, my advice, if people talk about good vibes and letting it all hang out, that's bad. It's very consciously about the death of the hippie movement. Which, again, that's when Doctor Who started, in the 60s. So, like, it's kind of really drawing this very specific parallel between 60s counterculture and Doctor Who. It's like both things that started out with these very positive ideals, but then just due to the crunch of capitalism and needing to exist in the world, just burned out and kind of lost all the hope. It's a very apt metaphor for Doctor Who in the 80s before Andrew Cartmel showed up.
And then he gives Ace a controller to the big robot we saw earlier. And he says it was designed with good intentions, but it has laser shooting eyes for some reason.
I seriously want to know what the intended use for the laser eyes is.
You know, shooting things, but good ways.
I mean, people who make robots always want to put fucking lasers in them.
That's a good point. If I was building a robot and I had the option to give it laser eyes, I would.
I think this is like half the reason that Lori doesn't want me to build a robot daughter.
Question though, but would you be like, "They're using my robot to shoot things with its laser eyes. I am shocked." Or would you be like, "Yeah, I should have seen that coming.
Probably shouldn't have given it laser eyes.
That one's on me."
It would be on me. I would be like beating myself up about it for the next week.
It's nothing but destructive purposes.
So, you vibe with this.
I mean, yes.
You vibe with Bellboy's plight.
Yeah, I would react the way Bellboy does.
Hallie, are you a robot fucker?
I mean, yes.
I'm just saying, I think we just know the answer to this question.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's whether I want to fuck robots or be robots, it's always a very tough question for identity and around there. But yeah, no, robots are hot.
I mean, what do I mean by robot? Is anyone who owns a vibrator a robot fucker?
Good point.
Huh.
Only if you use the pre-programmed settings.
Right.
What are the other options?
No, I mean, you can't just use it straight on a number. You would have to use one of the, like...
So you have to hack the vibrator.
No, you don't have to hack the vibrator. You just have to use the, like, let's talk about vibrators.
It's a pattern.
My model has a set of pre-programmed like patterns and settings that go in that it vibrates at, in addition to just the straight amount of vibration.
Her vibrator is much fancier than mine.
I got one of the nice ones.
I was gonna say, mine just has a high and a low.
Okay.
Not even a medium?
No, it's just got a high and a low.
Really just cementing my cred as a fucking robot fucker here. Oh.
I now feel that, like, it depends on the fanciness of the vibrator.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Whether or not you're a robot fucker.
Hallie's listens to music in the area and just vibrates in time with the music.
That's a really good idea, Joe.
That would be a cool feature.
It's like Shazam, but for vibrators.
I mean, we could probably make that happen. Put it up there at a couple Patreon levels above your core.
That is a new Watch-A-Thon of Rassilon Patreon exclusive.
I mean, I don't know how much of my talking about my vibrator is going to make the final cut. And I'm worried that it's all of it.
Yeah, we have to put a warning on this one.
The Rassilon vibrator will get you Rassel off.
Oh,
Gosh, so Doctor Who.
So, Wizkid tells Captain Cook that he bought a piece of his shoe.
I love that so much. Because Wizkid also knows who Captain Cook is.
He's also a fan of Captain Cook.
Yeah, which I think is important. I think ultimately Wizkid is a story about how, like, little nerd boys getting too invested in, like, the minutia of the details of it and not noticing the obvious colonialism.
Yeah, I lived through Gamergate.
Exactly. Ultimately getting undone by not having a political awareness of the thing that you're a fan of, because the colonialism ultimately destroys it.
The keep politics out of my X-Men crowd.
Exactly.
Doctor Who's never been political.
I will say, at this point, the Wizkid is not there. He has the potential to be there. At this point, he's just an enthusiastic fan, but is not engaged with the object of his fandom with any amount of critical awareness, which makes him susceptible to the forces of those of Captain Cook.
This is very my reading of that character. And of the whole, and of that relationship, and of the whole, like, general masculinity power structure exploitation system.
Then Bellboy talks more about Flower Child, and that's when he says that she made the kites and he made the robots.
You know, circus skills.
Robots and kites. And he just seems really done with everything. Very depressed and suicidal, honestly. And then Deadbeat and the Doctor come in. Bellboy sort of remembers Deadbeat, and he finally remembers his original name, which is Kingpin. So I'm going to start calling him Kingpin from here on out, because that's a much better name than Deadbeat. I had a long correspondence with one of the founder members, too, soon after it started. Although I never got to see the early days, I know it's not as good as it used to be, but I'm still terribly interested.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, no, that's, like, the most explicit line.
That's about Doctor Who.
Was the previous scene with Bellboy and all that the bit where Ace calls the Doctor an aging hippie?
Yes.
Because again, I feel like this is the show specifically aligning itself with the hippies. And so by saying, no, these are your people, you understand this. And also, I will say, at this moment, Ace says, you're just an aging hippie. And the Doctor does a peace sign and mumbles something. I have literally no idea what he mumbles. The closed caption suggests a thing, but the closed caption is wrong later in the episode about other stuff. This is not very good closed caption. And I have seen multiple takes on what it is he is supposed to be saying there, but I have no idea.
What are the takes?
I don't remember, but it's usually like song quotes.
Okay.
I'm looking at the transcript, and it just says, You're just an aging hippie, Professor. And he says, there might be something in that, yes. Anyway, we better be going. Bellboy? And that's all it says.
Yeah. That is not what the closed caption says at all. And I think I've seen other things.
The transcript is just done by a singular woman, so I don't know.
Doesn't say a cab.
All clowns are bastards.
That's what it means.
Are you okay?
That is definitely the title of this episode.
It is.
Oh, shit. That's the one to beat. So, Cook tells Wizkid he can have the honor of going next. And that's when he tricks him into just going out and doing it.
That's consistent with my limited experience of masculinity in the tech sector.
And then he goes out and...
The audience does not like him.
He beefs it.
Yeah,
He beefs it big time.
He walks out with a lot of confidence. He walks out with a swagger. Like, he's just like, aw, thank you. No. He's so excited. There's another moment coming up that I made a GIF of that is kind of well known, but I also made a GIF of him walking out into the ring, and it's very good.
Oh, it is very... I've seen that, yeah.
Can I say something off topic for a second?
No.
Sure.
I think it's very important that I clarify something. I said that I wanted to make a robot doctor, and also I confirmed that I was a robot fucker, and I want to be clear that those are two very different things that I have no desire to
You don't want to make a robot daughter and fuck that daughter. That is not a
That
thing
is
I've
correct.
ever
I
said.
do not even want to say those words ever again.
Exactly.
Thank you all for listening to my PSA. Thank you, Christine, for clarifying.
Speaking of PSAs, should we do another rap here? There's another rap when the Wizkid comes out.
Woo! That's you, Joe.
Why are you looking at me?
It's my turn. It's your turn to beatbox.
Yeah, you have to beatbox, Tony.
You don't actually have to beatbox.
I don't know what you do.
You go...
I couldn't even hear Christine's beatbox over the Zoom.
It was not very good.
Do you have to do this? I feel like you have to.
You do
Yeah,
have
you
to do that. I can't see you, but yes.
Now, welcome, folks. I'm sure you'd like to know we've got a brand new act for your circus show. Now, welcome, please, with all the warmth you can, the Psychic Circus's greatest fan. Yeah.
I did it.
You did. We're all proud of you.
Congratulations.
This is the most exciting day of my life. My dream come true. I'm standing in the ring of the Psychic Circus. And then, he's obliterated.
See, I feel like that's when fans start writing for the show, and they're like, this is gonna be great, because I'm writing for the thing that I love.
Yeah.
Oh, he is Chris Chibnall.
Yeah.
This was foreshadowing.
Is the thing. It's so thematically consistent that it went forward in time.
That's how meta this serial is.
And I have a lot of sympathy for both this kid and Chris Chibnall, but also, wow.
So, the Dr. Ace and Kingpin leave, but Bellboy stays behind. And when the chief clown arrives, Bellboy basically kills himself with the robot clowns. And it is very unsettling and disturbing.
And the clown does his hand motion when he dies,
It's so creepy.
like he does whenever anyone dies.
And he holds it for a really long time, too, and I don't like
That's
it.
the clown's fetish, is doing that thing when people die.
So the clown's fetish is just that he's a sociopath.
Yeah.
Yeah, like all clowns.
But they cry so much. I'm sure there are good sociopaths out there somewhere. Not necessarily clowns.
There are no good clowns. I can attest to that because I wanted to be one, and I am not a good person.
Okay.
And I am evil.
I thought it was going to be and I decided not to become a clown because all clowns are bastards.
It was just a
Yeah.
really toxic environment, Clown College. I bet that's true. I bet that's a real lived experience of someone.
Probably. They go back to the well, and Kingpin recreates basically what he had done previously with his necklace, and it makes him collapse. Because he had done something before, and that's what made him burnt out. And then the Doctor and Ace realize that there is a piece missing from the necklace, and that it's probably back at the bus. So they're going to go back to the bus. Well, Ace and Kingpin are going to go back to the bus. The Doctor is going to go into the ring. The Doctor goes back there with Mags and Cook, and they convince Cook to do a 3-person act. There's another rap, but we've ran out of people to rap.
Christine, I think you gotta start again.
I gotta start again. Yeah. All right, Joe, I guess you have to beatbox again.
Oh, I've got to beatbox again? Okay. I
Yeah.
didn't know we were going to switch it up like that. All right.
Now welcome, folks, to not one act but three, to the greatest show in the galaxy. The galaxy. The galaxy. The greatest show in the galaxy. He says it a bunch of times. To make up for the fact that he is out of raps.
Come back tomorrow for more raps.
Cook immediately takes control and he's like, give me a whip and give me some of that moonlighting. And Bruce Willis comes out. That's a dated reference.
Oh my god!
I was trying to remember, what's it, Sybil Shepherd? Is that the other person?
Yeah,
yes,
Sybil Shepherd.
I believe that's correct.
His exact words is like, give us that old devil moon effect.
But yeah, they just happen to have moonlighting effects, I guess, just on hand.
It is a circus.
Sure. And then Mags begins to transform.
She's also from the planet Volpana, in case you hadn't figured it out. She starts to transform. And you know how wolves are green?
Yeah.
Wolves from Volpana, sure.
There's a thing about werewolves that makes them, like, much harder to do than other, like, Halloween monsters. Which is that, like, with a vampire, all you gotta do is, like, give someone pale makeup and pointy teeth. A zombie, you just gotta put some, like, skin falling off. But, like, wolves have snouts and walk on four legs a lot of the time. Which means that anytime a TV show tries to do a werewolf, you lose, like, a lot of the actual wolfness.
It's true.
I will say, I mean, I think the green is actually more to do with, isn't her hair green normally?
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think that's just part of it. I will say, I think there's been a more werewolf-looking werewolf on Doctor Who, and that was in the third Doctor era, when Benton becomes a werewolf in Inferno.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
I think that makeup looks way better.
It does.
Or not way better, but, like, it looks more like a werewolf.
Yeah. Yeah, what happens to Mags doesn't look particularly werewolfy. I think if I saw Mags and was not told she was supposed to be a werewolf, my brain would not think werewolf. She's almost more of like a goblin.
But I think she looks cool. I think she looks very cool.
She does.
Do you think she's hotter because she's kind of feral?
A little bit. And also the hair is way sticky up here.
No, the sticky uppy hair gets me too.
The hair is very sticky up here. She does have more body hair. No, I get it.
How'd those teeth do it for you there?
Yeah.
Yep,
Teeth.
okay.
There's a lot of drool on her face.
I'm not gonna go there. So, hey, that's the end of episode 3.
Jesus.
The cliffhanger is amazing. It ends on this wide-angle close-up of the Doctor making a face that's not really fear, but it's much more just kind of revulsion. It's much more just like, ugh.
That's episode 3. We're now into the last episode, episode 4, which I have called The Ring of Ragnarok. That's my least effective title, but there we go. So yes, the family, the mom, the dad, and the child are enjoying the shit out of this. Their eyes are glowing.
Yeah, there's a really great shot the first time that the daughter's eyes glow, where it's this nice push in. It's very almost Spielbergian.
And Cook is ranting about how he wants power, and the Doctor is swinging around on ropes and shit.
Yeah, there's a lot of swinging, and while he is chased by Mags, and Captain Cook explains that, like, he knows that there's a power here, like the one that affected Deadbeat. The Doctor says, like, you can't harness it without being like him. And he's like, no, I can do it because he was like you, not too enlightened in the self-interest stakes. Basically, Captain Cook's like, no, I can succeed here because I'm an asshole.
Yeah, I can succeed here because I'm from the 80s.
Exactly.
Speaking of, Christine, do you think this the reason you like this serial so much is because the Doctor is swinging around on ropes and it's very swashbuckling?
I do like that. Yeah, that's definitely part of it. Do love some swashbuckling.
He also does like a really good stunt when he he straight up falls down he gets like pushed and falls down the seats and gets attacked by Mags. It's really good.
I mean, he does that backward somersault or whatever in the last serial.
That's true. So the Doctor gets attacked by Mags and the Doctor pleads to her humanity, I guess. She instead does not kill the Doctor, but instead turns on Cook and eats that motherfucker.
Good.
Straight up kills that motherfucker. There's a decent amount of murder in this serial.
Yeah.
And, like, sympathetic murder.
There's a lot of murder this season. Daleks and Cybermen and...
There's a moment where, Mags is wolfed out and then turns around and kills her abuser. And, the doctor's like, no, don't do it. But once she does it, he's like, that's fine. We still have to get out of here. He's not scolding about it.
Yeah, he's a lot like, I mean, that wasn't great, but...
He's not acting like, well, you can't be with me now.
The only time he turns that down is when, you use your brain to win the lottery or whatever it was. What?
I mean, really, it's when you hit on the person that he has a crush on.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Back at the bus, Ace finds a box on the bus and cannot get it open. But she is grabbed by the bus bot, who, while he's squeezing her head, right?
Yeah, it looks legitimately awful.
And while he's doing that, the robot steps on the box, which bursts it open. And Kingpin finds the piece inside, puts it on his necklace, and he is cured, I guess. And he remembers everything, and he's like, Ace, there's a button on top of the robot's head, press it. And then she does, and he stops, and he's like, okay, now run.
He says, punch the nose.
And then the robot explodes. The Doctor and Mags run out and duck through the slit Ace cut earlier. The family wants another act now. And the ringleader and Morgana are like, we'll get you something, And they're like, no, we want it now. The clowns shove them into some baskets and they disappear. As for their final disappearing act, I guess.
The ringleader raps no more.
Ask not for who the ringleader raps.
And then the clowns chase Mags as she makes her way for Ace and Kingpin. She dives past the snack woman at one point, which slows down the pursuing hearse. The Doctor is going to go into the real ring now, and he enters the Stargate from 2001.
Like you do.
I think it's genuinely really impressive how good this looks, considering what happened was they put Sylvester McCoy in a party city and told him to pretend like he's struggling with streamers.
And then they throw some cheap filters on it.
Exactly. But despite that, it looks really cool.
It reminded me both of, yes, the Stargate from 2001, but also the scene in WandaVision when she's pushing her way through the wall.
Yeah, it's a lot like that.
But he gets through and he meets the gods of Ragnarok, which it's basically the mom, the dad, and the child. They're actually gods.
They're revealed to be 3 stone gods, essentially.
I like that the fact that they are the gods of Ragnarok is not important. It's just something that the Doctor says, and you're like, okay.
And apparently he's been fighting them for a while, he says.
This is the MO of the 7th Doctor era, is that, the 7th Doctor shows up, and it turns out he's fighting someone that he's been fighting for years and years and years. Back when he worked for the Division.
I will say, he does. Speaking of modern Who, he says it must be difficult for you trying to exist concurrently in 2 different time spaces. I know the problem myself, which is what the Doctor did in Flux.
It's true.
It's true.
She existed in 2 different time spaces and had some difficulty with it. But yeah, the gods of Ragnarok are basically like, entertain us or die. And he's like, all right. And he does this really cool,
you ain't seen nothing yet. That's what he says.
He leans on his ankles, sort of.
Like the goofiest smooth criminal lean you can imagine.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, because at this point, the Doctor has found himself face to face with one of his greatest enemies, and now it's time to do some close-up magic.
This is such a good show.
To be fair, that's very consistent with the 7th Doctor.
He does a chicken or the egg routine, which does not impress them because they don't care about beginnings. They only care about endings. While this is happening, Mags meets up with Kingpin and Ace, and they're still being chased by the clowns, so they head off to the giant robot. Ace proceeds to kill all of the clowns with this giant robot.
That's how you use the laser eyes for good.
Now, I'm pretty sure all of the clowns other than the head clown are robots. But the head clown, I am pretty sure, is not a robot, and Ace just wastes that dude.
Kingpin says, he used to be a good clown.
Exactly.
And then Ace is like, I never liked clowns.
Yeah, no, he is, implied to be like one of the founding members of the troupe along with the other hippies. The thing about the clown is that he kind of represents like one of those guys who doesn't actually care about the ideals that he's talking about. It is just like using this like kind of vulnerable group as a way to get power.
He's the last head writer.
Or just like, yeah, any kind of dude that exploits kind of leftist spaces for their own personal gain.
I know that guy.
Exactly.
Then the doctor does some rope tricks. Then he turns the rope into a snake. Then he turns the snake into an umbrella.
They are not suitably impressed by this. He's putting on a good show.
Did the gods send the rain? Or does he make it rain?
No, I think he sent the rain because they've been making a lot of thunder noises throughout.
Yeah, he's prepared with the umbrella. Then he escapes from a straitjacket. Does a lot of the classics.
There's a lot of like cutaway gags that are a little bit undercut by how long we spend in each gag. Like, I'm willing to admit that the pacing of this section is, like, not as good as it could be.
But it's close-up
I don't care, though, because he's doing magic, yeah.
He's doing close-up magic. I'm really happy with it.
Joe, are you a magic fucker?
Well,
technically, yes.
Yeah, because here's the thing. Tony's derby name is magic.
That's super true.
Technically, it's magic thighs, but you go by magic.
On the track, they call me Magic.
Yeah.
On the track, they call me Magic sounds like a start of a good rap. If you feel like doing more rapping.
I'm so good.
Okay.
I leave the other jammers behind me. I know it's so tragic.
Nice. You've got to record a single now.
No, we tried that once.
A derby-themed rap song.
Ace, Kingpin, and Mags go to the well to throw the medallion into it, but they are stopped by a zombie. Captain Cook.
Zombie Cook.
Yeah, Zombie Cook. Cook has risen from the dead, presumably by the gods, have given him animation. Meanwhile, the doctor continues to put on a show. He throws a piece of metal that I don't know where he got it from.
It's magic.
He throws it into the air. He catches it and it turns into a sword. And he says that it's from like a gladiator that's fought them before or something.
I'm pretty sure that's patter.
Yeah, probably. I want to believe it. He convinces me.
That's how the magic works.
And then he just stops. He's done. He's going to stop doing a show now. Ace kicks the medallion out of Cook's hand. And it falls into the well, where it reappears with the doctor.
He kind of catches it on the sword.
Does he catch it, or does he just stab it? Like it's in the dirt.
I think the effect is not great, but I think the implication is that like he kind of catches it on the sword.
And then he holds it up, and it reflects the god's laser blasts back at them. He doesn't really move it around a lot, and they just keep shooting at the same spot.
I mean, it could be that it attracts them.
That's true. It's magic. The laser blasts basically just start tearing everything apart. Everything starts collapsing. Cook just says some line and jumps into the well, kills himself. Because he's all the time talking about, like, every time he's just rambling about his exploits, just bragging about himself, and he says something about, like, how he basically had seen a zombie before, and that's not for him, and he jumps into the well. Everything falls apart, and the doctor casually strolls out in a gif that Christine is Tumblr famous for, as an explosion happens behind the doctor.
As he exits the circus.
Strolls out of the tent, as a big explosion happens that he was way too close to, and I believe he caught on fire a little bit.
He did catch on fire a little bit in real life.
Oh, no.
It wasn't that he was necessarily too close, as much as they put too much explosives in.
Oh, no.
Like, they overdid the explosives. So, like, he was too close, but it wasn't like he didn't hit his mark. It was that the explosive was way bigger than people were expecting.
I feel like that's the sort of thing you're supposed to check when you make explosives.
It seems like it would be.
But he's such a goddamn professional that he does not react at all. He just keeps strolling casually. And it is a very good shot, and
yeah, it looks badass.
Oh, it looks great.
Christine gifted it once, and it goes around. Goes around a lot. It's not your most popular post, is it? Is that?
Oh, that's probably still the Stranger Things one. It might be this Britney Spears one. The Britney Spears one is gaining.
The Britney Spears one is wild.
It's wild. I don't go in there.
Yeah, I opened the notes once and was like, well,
yeah.
I'm not going to do that again.
Did you step in the discourse, Christine?
I did. I should have known better.
The explosion was bigger than you expected.
Yes.
Are you still on fire a little bit?
Then there's just off in the distance, the snack lady watches as the whole circus explodes, just so you can know that she's still in this. She's very annoyed by it. It's like they don't care about the locals at all.
Making the whole sky pink like that.
And then the doctor meets up with Ace, and Ace is like, it was your show all along, wasn't it? Wink! This whole thing was very meta, wasn't it, Doctor? Kingpin and Mags are going to do a spin-off with their own circus.
Everyone dies, and the only people who survive, the people that we're ultimately aligned with, are, like, the activist, radical left guy, and the, like, queer-coded, marginalized person. It's like the show being like, no, this is who we're for. This is what we're about, these people.
They invite the Doctor and Ace to join their circus, but they have other galaxies to explore besides. The Doctor thinks circuses are kind of sinister. And that is the end of the greatest show in the galaxy.
In the galaxy. In the galaxy.
In the galaxy.
We did it.
It's a good cereal.
And now we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back for final thoughts. That is not an invitation for you to eat flaming hot Cheetos.
Drew Leiter here. Wish you could keep up on DC Comics but don't have the time or the money? Not a problem. Join Cletus Jacobs and I as we bring you recaps and commentary on DC Comics, television, movies, and more, whether they are good or not. The Earth Station DCU podcast comes out weekly and is part of the ESO network.
And we're back. Tony, do you know what time it is?
We're back.
Yeah, a dinosaur's story.
Is it time for Flamin' Hot Cheetos?
Apparently it is not.
Do you know what time it is?
Not time for snacking.
No, what time is it?
It is 9:35 p.m.
Mm-hmm. What do we do at this point in the podcast? Besides this bit.
Oh, but everyone loves this bit. This is everyone's favorite part of the podcast.
Seems like we're getting meta with it.
No, I really like this part of the podcast.
I do enjoy it.
All right, then we're just gonna live in it. We're never gonna get out of it.
It is time for final thoughts.
Final thoughts.
And I think all of our final thoughts should be in rhyme.
Oh, fuck you. How about you just fuck right off?
Hold on there, Joe. I kinda want to try. Rhyming my last thoughts about this guy. His name is Doctor Who, and he's from space. And you'll never know who he is, even if you know his face. Yeah.
I love this serial. I think it is definitely the best Seventh Doctor serial so far. I don't know if it's my favorite overall. It might be. It's up there. It's really, 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 really good. It's got everything I like. It's funny. It's scary. It's very meta. I enjoy the meta. It has a hot werewolf. Like, what more could you need?
More sexy robots.
Yeah, well, there are clown robots if you're into clowns.
Yeah, no, that's not, no.
But yeah, it's just really well written. It's really well directed. Just everything about it, it's just top notch. I can't think of a single complaint I have with it except for that Deadbeat should have been called Burnout. And I think that's it. I think that's my final thoughts. It's just really, really good. So, Hallie, what are your final thoughts?
I really liked it. This is my second time watching this serial, and the parallels to Doctor Who also stood out a lot more to me, partially because, I finished watching Station 11, right before I rewatched this, and so, I'm seeing a lot of and Station 11 has a lot of stuff about, media and fandom and how it ages over time, so I, really vibed into those themes this time, and got really interested in how, the thing that you're a fan of changes and, the culture changes as... Anyway, I really liked the whole just, this is what happens when you start out wanting to make something cool, and then you have to keep doing it for 40 years. Or 20 years, or however long. I enjoyed the vibe of this immensely. I enjoyed how the entire scenario, all the characters were, either representative or, really good foils. I loved Evil Doctor. Loved Mads, to death. Love Ace. Always love Ace. It was just a nice serial. I even enjoyed the rapping. I didn't think it was as bad as it could have been.
At least it rhymed.
It did.
God, when the rapping started, because it opens, what a bold move to open the entire serial with a rap and then be like, we'll get to that in a minute. But when it started, I think you made some joke about, like, maybe they'll do it again. And then they did it 5 more times. This is a very good serial. I mean, this is like a group of people who are all like, it's meta, and like this is a group of people who all dig meta stuff, but I think the fact that we were like so many things you're like, is this about this? Is this about this? And we were extrapolating things like about the future of the show that like still totally like you could read it that way and it totally fits. I think that's a testament to like what a good job they did like playing with these pieces. Because, like, we could say that, like, it's about Chris Chibnall, it's about Chris Chibnall in the future, because it's about what happens about that kind of person. Part of it is us reading things into it, and part of it is just, like, how those things play out is how they're gonna play out. In the meantime, it's also just having a lot of fun, which is sometimes, like, I feel like a hard thing for people to balance. If, like, it's very, like, this is gonna be about something, and everything's gonna be very on theme, and it's gonna be very serious, and this is like, no, we're gonna have a fucking blast at the same time as we kind of, like, tear apart our own show, and maybe some light poking fun at our own fans, which is great.
It's like Watchmen, but fun.
I agree with all the smart things that Toni said. I specifically wanted to call out the fact that it's so good at balancing its kind of thematic ideas and its sort of fun ideas, because it delights equally in the goofy stuff as it does as like the heavier, smarter stuff, and it doesn't quite even see a distinction between the two because it finds equal fun in both. And like to build on something you were saying about how like it works because it talks about these kinds of people. Like, I think the best thematic stuff, the best allegory type stuff works better when it's not one-to-one, where it's not like this character represents this necessarily or whatever, as much as acknowledging that there are patterns of behavior that exists in systems and acting out certain patterns of behavior in a specific system and finding commonalities in them. And I think it does that very well. I think it's so funny. It's so weird. It's so eerie. And it really kind of, to me, exemplifies why I love this era. This is my favorite era of Doctor Who. I'm glad to be on here finally talking about it. I picked this one because it exemplifies this era so much to me and what I love about it. Because I could have been on literally any 7th Doctor episode and would have had the time of my life because this is my era. But yeah, this one, it's got it all. It's so cohesive. Everything kind of fits together, but each bit feels unique. It just does so much and has so much fun doing it. This time watching it, I noticed all the little details. I noticed all the great camera moves and stuff, all the little bits. There's just a lot of great detail work going on. Everyone involved cares about the thing that they're doing so much.
Yeah, they think it's the greatest show in the galaxy.
Exactly. It really comes through in the final product. It's great. Love this Doctor. Love this era. Love this serial. It's the best.
It's the greatest
show
in the galaxy.
In the galaxy.
Good galaxy.
No, yeah, you're right. Like, the people working on it, like, clearly know and are very critical of this thing that they're working on, but also they love it. And also, it's still the greatest show in the galaxy.
Criticize the things you love.
Yeah.
It's okay.
That's what we do.
It's not only okay, it's super important.
But that's it. Before we go, is there anything that y'all would like to plug?
Well, I'm on this podcast called Burn Notice. You can go listen to that.
Speaking of criticizing things you love.
Exactly. Or criticizing things that you have a podcast about.
I mean, I have a broad definition of love.
I always say, like, Burn Notice at this point is family.
It is the Olive Garden of television shows.
It is the Olive Garden of television shows. When you're here, you're family. And when you listen to our podcast, your family.
Here's your free yogurt and breadsticks.
If your podcast came with free breadsticks, I'd still be listening to it.
They mention you every goddamn episode, by the way. Not me. Just you. I'm listening. I'm still listening.
I think that's why.
I want it too much.
You're too available.
Y'all, like, Burn Notice is like that parent that, like, pays way too much attention to the one child because they don't
Because they live out of town.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, that child is so great. And then I'm the child that's, like, always there helping them out and having to listen to them talk about the other sibling.
Literally, that's me and my sister. I feel bad about it, but one time my sister told me, no, it's fine. My parents would never listen to this podcast. One time my sister told me that mom was complaining and was like, no one ever comes and sees me. And she was like, I was literally sitting in her house right next to her as she was telling me how no one ever comes to see her.
Oh, God.
Anyway, plugs?
Listen to Burn Notice. And all the other stuff I've done. I've talked about it whenever I'm here. I haven't done anything new since then, so it's all the same stuff.
I'm working on a podcast with Toni.
Hey, I hear we have a Twitter now.
We do have a Twitter now. There's nothing on it. It's a placeholder. We might have stuff on it, but anyway, go there when we actually start publishing episodes. We'll probably drop something, at least an announcement next month.
Yes.
Check us out. We started looking at card games that we like and interviewing people, and as we start to interview people, it's sort of becoming about how games are important to people and how they're like part of their selfhood and their connection to community.
We have done some fascinating interviews that I can't wait to share.
So good interviews. So good. Yeah, we're mostly just interviewing people talk about their relationship with games. Maybe doing a little theory around that too. I got one of my books in the mail now, so I'm excited. It's called House Rules. And the Twitter handle is @HouseRulesCast.
And it's not a watch-a-thon of the television show House.
It is not a watch-a-thon of the television show House.
And how much it rules.
I mean, I watched a lot of that show.
I mean, I did too. We all existed in the 2000s.
I've never seen
a single episode
Never
of House.
seen a single episode.
It's fine.
The acting is impeccable. The plot lines are really interesting. It is all about exemplifying the asshole who's really good at his job, so you let him stick around and keep ruining people's lives. That also typified the 2000s.
I was gonna say, yeah, that tracks.
I know a lot of people who are, like, surprised that Hugh Laurie is British, but I've never heard his American accent. Not
really?
once. Yeah.
It's very good.
Wait, really? Not even in something else?
I don't know of anything else he's done it in.
He's done it in some things.
Is he American in Stuart Little?
Not in Stuart Little.
Oh, yeah, I think he's still British in Stuart Little.
But I feel like in things that he's done since House, he's done stuff with an American accent.
Was Tomorrowland American accent or British accent?
Not seen it.
Is he on Veep? I think he has an American accent on Veep.
I haven't
I've
seen
only
it.
watched a couple episodes of Veep.
And that new show that he did with Armando Iannucci, the space show?
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I don't know if he's British. I haven't seen it either.
Did you finish your plug? I don't remember.
Not about that guy. We have a Twitter handle. It's @HouseRulesCast. We'll be putting stuff up soon. Listen to that.
Get excited. Or else.
All of our interviews have been rad. Like, it's been really cool getting to know how people have relationships with games they learned as kids.
I can't wait to hear it. We've been semi promoting it on this podcast for a while, and now I think this is the first official plug. So I'm excited, and I can't wait to hear it.
Joe, do you have any plugs?
You know what? I also have another podcast. I am on a podcast called Legendary Forces, and we're going through all of the Star Wars media. We're doing it all. We did the holiday special. We're doing comics. We did newspaper strips. We're about to do one on, like, children's read-along books, so that'll be fun.
Wow.
Did you know that there are movies?
Yes, we did the first one.
The Phantom Menace?
Yeah, we did New Hope. Though, you know what? There's a weird parallel with Doctor Who and Star Wars in that I feel like a lot of the, like, expanded media of Doctor Who way back in the 60s was very much like, oh man, the web planet's gonna be fucking huge. We're just gonna do Zarbies left and right. And Star Wars has a similar thing where they're like, we're gonna go to Kashyyyk all the time. And, or Kashyyyk, I think is what it's pronounced. Kashyyyk. They're like, oh yeah, this holiday special, that's where the canon goodies are. That pops up a few times in expanded material.
Doctor Who and Star Wars are both franchises that existed as books in the 90s that were much more beloved than you would expect them to be.
In the 90s when people, like, wanted more content, but that was the only way to get it. And yeah, well, there was, and it was books.
God, Could you imagine a time when there wasn't just so much fucking content all the time? Or people didn't even really use the word content because it was actually just
books and shows and stuff.
Yeah, you know, content.
Anyway, speaking
Sorry,
of,
I just got lost.
if you want some more content, check out Legendary Forces, a podcast that I'm just a rotating co-host on. It's hosted by Nathan Laws. He's the primary guy he's been on this show, and he's the 42 cast as well. But if you liked this episode of our podcast, you can check out more on WatchArassalon.com. You can also find our podcast, our Patreon, our Amazon wishlist, and more at Linktree/Watch-A-Thon. That's linktr.ee/Watch-A-Thon. And special thanks again to Matt Golden for sponsoring this episode.
Hey, thanks, Matt.
Golden!
You can check him out at mattgolden.xyz. And I also want to give a shout out to Vincent E.L. for providing our amazing theme song.
Thank you, Vince.
Hey, thanks, Vincent.
Vince does good raps, and you can hear them at vincentel.bandcamp.com. And tune in next time when we talk about the final episode of Flux with some guests you may have heard in this very episode, Hallie and Chris.
Get that resolution of that cliffhanger about my experience with Doctor Who.
You will find out just how much Doctor Who Hallie knows about. So you got to stick around for that. And then after that, we'll be back with the final season of Classic Doctor Who.
I'm real excited for you to watch the final season because I actually feel like it's very different from this season.
Oh, that's exciting. I like new. I like different. Let's do it. But we'll be back with the first serial of the last season, Battlefield, with special guests Ashley Rayburn and Nathan Laws, who I mentioned 2 seconds ago. But until next time, keep calm and Rassilon.
Goodbye, and I love you in a platonic parasocial way.
Bye.
Peace out. I was giving peace signs, but you can't hear that over a podcast.
You're just an aging hippie, aren't you?
Yes.
You ain't seen nothing yet.
You ain't seen nothing yet.
This has been a broadcast of the ESO Network. Be part of the crew and help support our shows by donating to our ESO Patreon or by shopping at the TeePublic store, which can all be found at www.esonetwork.com. The ESO Network, your station for all things geek.